So Miss Britney Jean Spears was born into a little town called Macomb, Mississippi on December 2nd, 1981, making her a Sagittarius. And we love that. But when she was about 11 years old, she was a member of the Mickey Mouse Club, and Britney, she quickly got attention for her dancing skills, and she was just such a performer. At 15, she signed a record contract with a company called Jive Records. And in 1998, when she was only 16, Britney released her first song, Baby One More Time. She was 16? Oh my God. When you think of it like that, damn, she's just a baby.
Oh, baby, how was I supposed to know that something wasn't right here?
Thank you. I don't think I have to tell you, but that was a bop. And it was #1 on the billboards within months. And it topped all the charts. I mean, MTV had the music video on loop. We were living, we were dying, we were like, Britney is everything. She's a superstar. But I'm sure you remember the media back then was just awful, vicious. Today, you would never find mainstream news outlets demanding to know whether a 16-year-old had fake boobs or not, okay? Or was still a virgin, because they were asking her these questions. But back in the late 90s, that's exactly what they were doing to Miss Britney. They slut-shamed her for wearing short skirts. They criticized her every move. They criticized her song lyrics. They criticized everything. She became a pariah in the media for being scandalous and sexual when she was only a teenager, just wearing outfits that a lot of teenagers were wearing. Even though the media liked to attack her and the critics liked to call her music shallow, the public, we loved her. We didn't care. Shut up, everyone. She was great. And, you know, from this single on, Britney was working non-stop. She released 2 more albums in the next 2 years. She was nominated for Grammys. She performed Slave for You at the VMAs, wearing that snake around her neck. I don't like snakes. Don't put one around me. Thank you. She starred in Crossroads. It was really bad, but we still watched it. We were like, Britney, we still love you. We'll forgive you for this one. It's a little weird. She was dating Justin Timberlake. I mean, she was an icon. But even while her career continued to skyrocket, things were going downhill pretty fast in her personal life. In 2002, her relationship with that shithead Justin Timberlake ended. It was all over the tabloids. Everyone blamed Miss Britney, including that shithead Justin Timberlake. Millions of people started turning against her because of a relationship that they knew nothing about. And the hate was intense and it was overwhelming. It was a lot. So then we started to watch poor Miss Britney kind of unravel. She started to make some questionable choices. I mean, I think she was just trying to reclaim her life, but you know, the media, they didn't think that. The next year she got married in Vegas, but the marriage was annulled just like 55 hours later. Then in 2004, after 3 months of knowing each other, she married this other shithead, Kevin Federline. Remember when she got with him and we were like, no, Britney, no. She did, and we were like, fuck. Oh, he's trash. K-Fed. Anyway, she ended up having 2 boys with Mr. K-Fed. They ended up getting a divorce just a couple years later in 2006. Of course, I'm glossing over a lot of details, I know. But this is about conservatorship. So this is when it looked like to the public that Britney was like really losing her grip. She said, quote, I know now that I was displaying just about every symptom of perinatal depression, sadness, anxiety, fatigue. Being a new mom is challenging enough without trying to do everything under a microscope. No one was around to see me spiral, except every paparazzo in America. She just needed some love and support. In the divorce, Britney lost custody of both of her kids, who were just toddlers at this point. And Kevin starts actively trying to block Britney from seeing her children at all. But despite all this trauma, Britney continued to work. You better work, bitch. The next year at the 2007 VMAs, so you remember the 2007 VMAs? Oh, yeah, someone should have told her, no, not right now. But she ended up performing her song, Gimme More, and it was obvious. Oh, it was so bad. Poor Britney. Oh, I remember watching it like, oh no, Brit, exit, stage left, go girl. It was just clear she wasn't okay. She was just kind of going through the motions. She was just there. And then, one night in early 2007, Britney walked into a hair salon and casually shaved all her hair off. Britney later said, quote, "Shaving my head was a way of saying to the world, fuck you. You want me to be pretty for you? Fuck you. You want me to be good for you? Fuck you. You want me to be your dream girl? Fuck you." When I read her book and I read that part, I was like, oh, that makes sense. It makes sense. I mean, the media, everyone framed her as being, oh, she's crazy. She's lost it. She's bald. Remember? You remember. It was wild. It was sad. Well, after this, Britney is sent to a psychiatric hospital because of her erratic behavior. She's put under psychiatric hold for 72 hours and isn't allowed to do anything alone. I mean, not even go to the bathroom. And a month later, in February of 2008, her family decides to put Britney under a conservatorship against her will. Jamie Spears, that's Britney's dad. Jamie, her dad, becomes her conservator. This would be the person now in charge of making all of her life decisions. This is bad news for Britney, who said, quote, "Even though I begged the court to appoint literally anyone else, and I mean anyone off the street would have been better, they still made Jamie in charge. So why did he get the job, you know?" Well, this is where things get sketchy. Just before the conservatorship was made official, Jamie started working with a woman named Lou Taylor. Now, Lou had a company called TriStar Sports and Entertainment Group, and this is when Lou becomes Britney Spears' business manager, which was a little fishy because Britney was Lou's only client at the time. But it gets fishier because Jamie Spears happened to owe Lou Taylor about $40,000 at this time. So, based off of observation, it seemed like Jamie was setting her up with this cushy job instead of paying her back. Or maybe, with this cushy job, she was going to get paid back. Now, Jamie wasn't acting completely alone. Technically, a lawyer named Andrew Wallet was a co-conservator, which by the last name alone, I would not let him near my wallet. Yeah? No? Okay. Well, he got paid really well, is what I'm getting at. This Wallet guy, he got an annual salary of $426,000, which Britney said was basically just to, quote, "keep me from my own money." On top of that, Britney was given a court-appointed lawyer, and his name was Samuel Ingham III. She was not allowed to change this lawyer, and she hadn't had any say in picking him. And Britney was forced to pay this man like $500,000 a year in attorney fees. So she's like hemorrhaging money to all these people and she doesn't even know what for. So look, just based off those 3 people or whatever, that's like $1 million already a year that Britney is spending to be in this conservatorship that is doing what for her? She doesn't want to be in it. She's confused. Jamie, her father, wasn't like calling the shots from a distance. He wasn't handling Britney's bills remotely or anything. No. Jamie set up an office inside of Britney's home. He sat Britney down and, according to her, said, "I call the shots. You sit right there in that chair and I'll tell you what goes on. I'm Britney Spears now." I'd be like, "Oh, you're Britney Spears now? You put on that cute little outfit and those heels and you go on stage and perform then."
Okay, bye-bye now. Thank you.
Going back to Wendy, remember Wendy was like death to all of them. But yeah, death to all of them. And while this whole thing is like going on behind closed doors, Britney keeps working. She keeps showing up. She keeps smiling. She keeps performing. She filmed 2 episodes of How I Met Your Mother, which ended up being the 2 most watched episodes in the show's history. She recorded another album, Circus. I know, a good one. All while being unable to spend her own money or make any of her own decisions. Now, the next year, she went on a world tour for her album Circus, and it grossed like $130 million, and 5% of it went straight to Lou Taylor, Jamie's little friend. So it seemed everyone benefited to keeping Miss Britney working. And even though Britney wasn't locked away in some dirty asylum, she was treated very much like a prisoner in her own home. Now, if Britney wanted to go to like a party, a security team would make sure no one had any alcohol or was taking drugs, even if they were prescription. Or if they were like, hey, Motrin? No, bad. You know? If Britney wanted to go on a date, the person had to give like a full background check, had to do a blood test, sign an NDA, and would be informed of Britney's medical and sexual history prior to the first date. I'm sure that's a real buzzkill. Britney was not allowed to have a cell phone. The phones that she was allowed to use was always for like a limited amount of time, and then they would have parental controls on them. Poor thing. But I know, like if you look at Britney's Instagram now, I love Britney. I love her to death. I love her, but maybe she shouldn't have a phone. Just thought. Anyhow, Britney would have to take medication that was prepackaged in envelopes, and she was constantly watched by security, making sure she's taking her medications. Just sounded awful. In her book, Britney wrote, I would go to sleep early, and then I would wake up and do what they told me again, and again, and again. It was like Groundhog Day. I did that for 13 years. That's so sad. It's not like she wasn't trying to fight this. I guess at multiple points throughout the conservatorship, especially at the beginning, Britney tried to hire different lawyers, but was never allowed to. So she just had to keep going along with it. In 2013, Britney began the Piece of Me residency in Las Vegas. And even though she was at the lowest point of her life personally, professionally, people were blown away by her. Critics were saying that she literally changed the Vegas music scene. And again, she did all of this while under a conservatorship as a person who allegedly wasn't mentally able to take care of herself. Like, okay, sure, if she's not mentally able to take care of herself, how is she dancing like that? It just didn't make sense. So no surprise at the end of 2016, the residency was extended for 2 more years. Even though fans were very excited, poor Britney was going through absolute hell.